Two artificial intelligence models showed up quietly at Penhalter, and no one knows exactly who created these AIs. They arrived with curious names, Hunter Alpha and Healer Alpha, but what really caught the community's attention was something else. The specifications of these two models are absurd. The Hunter Alpha supposedly has 1 trillion parameters and up to 1 million context tokens, something designed specifically for AI agents, long tasks, and complex workflows with multiple tools. Healer Alpha, however, uses a different approach. It would be a fully multimodal model capable of understanding images, video, audio, and text, as well as performing actions in an agent-like manner. And that's when the theories started. Some people are saying that this could be DeepSeek v4 running anonymously. Others believe it could be Gemini 3.5 being tested discreetly. And there's also the hypothesis that it could be a new generation of models from OpenAI, possibly an evolution of ChatGPT. In other words, two mysterious models with gigantic specifications and no company officially claiming authorship. So in this video, I'm going to show you what we already know about Hunter Alpha and Healer Alpha, why these models are getting so much attention on OpenRouter, and what the three strongest theories are about who might be behind this new theory. Sound good? Then let's get into the video. Well guys, today I want to share with you my thoughts on these two new models that showed up on OpenRouter. Listen up. Two new stealth models are already available. The Hunter Alpha is a 1 trillion parameter model with a 1 million context window developed for agent workflows, long-term tasks, and heavy tool usage. Meanwhile, the Healer Alpha is a multimodal model that combines strong image, video, and audio understanding with real agentic execution. These two models are causing quite a stir over at OpenRouter. A lot of people are testing them, and of course, several theories have emerged. Who owns these new AIs? Google, OpenAI, Cloud, DeepSeek? Nobody knows. All we have so far are rumors. Then when we look at other posts on X, like this one from Chitas Lua, listen to this. Hunter Alpha and Healer Alpha, 1 million parameters, definitely a Chinese LLM, knowledge cutoff, May 2025, and both models were created by a small team focused on artificial general intelligence. How did they come to that conclusion? Well, we have here several tests that were carried out using both models, and apparently they have the same LLM, the same artificial intelligence model behind them. Because the style of the two AIs is very similar. Obviously, when we make a more detailed comparison, you can notice that the more advanced model, the one with a larger number of parameters, delivers a slightly better result. But overall, these two AIs are very similar. Here we can see that he used the same prompt and we got two very similar websites, but with some differences in rendering. But you can't say that they are totally different models. They definitely have the same foundation. Now, why are so many people thinking that these two models are Chinese? Precisely because of the information that was found in the documentation of both models. Listen, both models on OpenRouter have system warnings to strictly comply with Chinese laws and regulations. So that's a very strong indication that these two models wouldn't be Western. Could it be DeepSeek v4? It could be, but it's still just speculation, just a rumor. And then another piece of information appears in the documentation that's really funny. A team of people passionate about AGI, the acronym for Artificial General Intelligence, is also mentioned in the documentation for both models. So it's something to make us suspicious. Who would be responsible for these two new artificial intelligence models? I'll show you how you can access it and what I've already managed to do. And look, the result really surprised me. So, for anyone who wants to use it, I'll leave the OpenRouter link right here in the description of this video. When you enter the platform, you need to sign up using your Google email. There's no problem at all. You don't have to pay anything. And how do we use these two mysterious models? You can click here on models and then Hunter Alpha and Healer Alpha will show up right here. This sentence already appears here, which is a disclaimer, saying that all the information you put here in the chat can be used to train the model. This is already standard practice here at OpenRouter. And then they provide some information here, what I had already mentioned at the beginning. The model was released on March 11th. It has 1 trillion parameters and up to 1 million context tokens. To use it, it's available here in a free version, so we don't pay anything to test it. And then they provide some more information about the model here. It's the same thing if you want to test Healer Alpha. The same sentence here, saying that what you put here in the chat can be used to train the model. The same release date, March 11th. It has a context window of 262K and it's a multimodal model that can process video, text, audio, and so on, okay? Let's go. I'll show you now what I've already managed to create. Before I show you here the replica of the Space Invaders game, an important tip. Don't use the artifacts, the preview, the visualization inside OpenRouter. It causes a lot of bugs. You'll waste a lot of time trying to view the code here on the platform. My tip, save the HTML and then run it in your browser. It's much better. I was able to view these first two here. After that, it started glitching a lot, so I saved it in Notepad to open it in the browser, okay? So, starting here with Space Invaders created with Hunter Alpha, which is a model with 1 trillion parameters. This was the result. Let's see how it turned out. Cool, right? It turned out pretty similar to the Atari game. Let me see if I can die here. If they get all the way here, let's see if I'm going to die. Look. This one is the Healer Alpha version, also viewed here in OpenRouter. Notice that the layout here is very similar. Let's check out the game. Look, it's much slower, but okay, it's playable, right? There's the sound effect here too, just the way I asked. It's working here with the arrow keys on the keyboard. Look, up there the little spaceship is passing by, so it's okay, right? That worked too. Well, then I started making the prompt more complicated. That's why I couldn't see it here in OpenRouter anymore. Listen up. There's an empty lot in my neighborhood that I walk by every day, and I keep imagining what it could become. Before designing anything, I want to understand the light. Can you create a tool that shows how the shadows move across the lot throughout the day? All of this done in a single HTML5 file. Hunter Alpha, it goes through deeper reasoning first. He thinks before executing the code. Obviously, the result he delivers takes longer. When we compare it with Healer Alpha, there's a difference of about 30 seconds a minute and a half between the two AIs to deliver the result. I saved it as an HTML file, so let's see the result from Hunter Alpha first. So this is the application. I need to draw all the buildings here, each one of them showing a measurement. So this was the interface chosen by Hunter Alpha. Here are the buildings, and in this calendar I can simulate a day of the week, like, I don't know, Wednesday. Then you can see the shadow moving here. I can also change the floors of the buildings. I can delete them, so everything is working properly here. When I select it, the shadow shows up right away. It also shows the path of the sun across the sky here. I can also change the latitude, set it to 50 here, and then I can already see the shadows change. So, it's really cool because it turned out really well done. I have exactly what I asked for to be able to see the effect of sunlight on each of the buildings, so it's a perfect score. It worked just right. Now let's see how this same prompt turns out, but using Healer Alpha. Look, here in the Healer Alpha model, it also has a reasoning part, so it also thinks before delivering the code. The file is also a simple HTML file. I'll show you how it turned out. And this was the app created by Healer Alpha, so I can click here on my map and then I start adding the buildings. Look how interesting that is. I can also change the longitude and latitude here, and as I adjust them, it also changes the position of the shadow. It's the same thing with the date. There's also the option to adjust the position of the sun here, and as I change it, the shadow also changes. At some point, it becomes night here. How interesting. I can start an animation. Pretty cool, right? You can tell this isn't just any model. Both Hunter and Healer Alpha are powerful models. They're about to be released, and we don't know who owns these models. Look, I can clear it here, see everything working perfectly, then it's just a matter of preference. Personally, I like this application here made by Healer Alpha more, mainly because here I have an animation. In the app created by Hunter Alpha, I had to do everything manually, and here I have this option to start an animation. I thought it was really cool. It turned out great, just the way I asked, with this really nice detail that I can add the buildings here and move the position of the sun here, which I thought was amazing. Here's another example, in this case using Hunter Alpha. I asked the following: based on the attached document, write a 30-line essay. He went over the number of lines. If I'm not mistaken, there are 33 lines here, and then he starts like this. Global warming, a collective challenge for the preservation of the planet. Global warming is characterized by the increase in the planet's average temperature due to the worsening of the greenhouse effect, and it represents one of the greatest environmental threats of our time. He goes on with the full text and ends with a conclusion. Everything is in order, the text is very well written, it's in the Portuguese spoken here in Brazil, and there are no mistakes. 10 out of 10, it passed the test, the same request, the same prompt here on Healer Alpha. Notice that he changes the formatting of the text here. He highlights the title and starts as follows. Global warming is one of the greatest challenges faced by humanity in the 21st century. It is the progressive increase in the planet's average temperature, worsened by the greenhouse effect, a phenomenon in which gases like carbon dioxide trap part of the sun's radiation in the atmosphere. This text seems a bit more technical to me than the one we got from Hunter Alpha, or is that just my impression? Maybe, I'm not an expert, but both models delivered very concise texts, written in the Portuguese, spoken here in Brazil. I don't see any grammatical discrepancies. Everything's here just the way I asked. So this ends up reinforcing that theory that what we have here are two variants of the same model, one more powerful, maybe a thinking version, and the other a bit more restrained, but still delivering very similar results. A test now, starting here with Hunter Alpha. I asked the following. Explain the Pythagorean theorem using formulas and drawings. What did it do? Well, it started here. Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to create an interactive visual explanation of the theorem. I'm going to build a page that shows the theorem in a dynamic way. Then it gave me an HTML code here. I'll show you how it turned out. And at the end, it gives me an explanation of the code it just created. So let's see what Hunter Alpha did to explain the Pythagorean theorem to me. Take a look. Pythagorean theorem. The fundamental relationship between the sides of a right triangle is expressed in the elegant equation that connects geometry and algebra. Look, I have an animation here. This is Hunter Alpha, okay? Look, it's working perfectly here. And when I move the controls here, the geometric interpretation also changes. Look at this. So everything lines up here, working just fine. And then it gives an explanation here of how it works. A simple visual demonstration of the theorem. Squares of the sides, area comparison, algebraic relation, and the final formula. So everything here is built in a very elegant way, working just fine. Just to explain the Pythagorean theorem to me. Let's see how Healer did. So I gave Healer Alpha the same request, and it followed a line of reasoning similar to Hunter's. He also gave me an HTML code here. At the end here, he brought a summary of the explanation, and let's see how this HTML turned out. You can see it's a little simpler. Pythagorean theorem. In every right triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. I have the formula here, but unlike Hunter, here in Healer, I don't have any animation. Everything that's showing up here is static. So he put the formula, put the angles here, the theory, everything is perfect, but nothing is interactive. I can't activate any controls here on the page to demonstrate the Pythagorean theorem like I had on the site created by Hunter Alpha. These buttons here, which I hadn't even asked for, were created by Hunter, and here in Healer I don't have any of that, just an elegant page. All the information is correct, but I don't have any animations. Now let's move on to the landing page test. I put this prompt here, which I asked ChatGPT to create for me, saying the following. Create a modern, elegant, and responsive landing page for a real estate agency located in the city of São Paulo. The design should convey credibility, sophistication, and trust, using soft and professional colors, light shades of blue, gray, beige, and soft green, clean typography, and plenty of white space. So here are some instructions, all of them created by ChatGPT. On Hunter, it took about 3 minutes to deliver the result. It thought it through quite a bit and gave me the code here in HTML. Let's see the result. Here's my real estate agency's landing page. He put this image here. Real estate agency in São Paulo since 1990, the right place for your next chapter. So here I have a very well made, very elegant page. With the timeline being shown here, just the way I asked, it shows our services here, below that what our clients say about us, and also a contact section with fake phone numbers and email addresses. So everything is working perfectly. Notice that the buttons here work, so that's awesome. Hunter managed to deliver a great landing page for my fictional real estate agency. Let's check out Healer now. Building bonds, making dreams come true. With over 3 decades of experience in the São Paulo real estate market, we offer personalized solutions for those looking for the ideal property. Here in the background, he put a faded image, which turned out really cool. There's this other photo here that apparently was created by artificial intelligence. This is the multimodal model healer. It's described there as a model that can process video, audio, text, and more. So apparently this image here was created for, then I have the text here in Portuguese. The same timeline with this animation here, as I scroll down, new frames appear here, which turned out really cool. I also have our services here, what our clients say, and a contact section here. The buttons are also working perfectly, so everything is just right. Here in the contact section, notice something. The phone number used here by Healer as a fictitious contact is 34567890. Here in the contact section, the phone number used by Hunter is the same, 34567890. Fictitious contact, 34,567,890. Notice, the fictitious contact used here in the contact section, the phone number used as a fictitious contact is 34,567,890. The phone number 34567890. The phone number 34567890 have the same base and the same root. We just don't know what these models would be, but it's definitely something coming from China. So, what do you guys think? Who are you betting on? I think they are two variants of DeepSeek v4. And you guys, tell me in the comments, okay? See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
I've been all around the globe, seen the sun and